Keanu Reeves stepped out of his shiny Lincoln Continental car. He was at a fancy hotel in downtown San Jose. It was just before 8 o'clock in the morning. The sun was shining on his neat, dark blue suit. He fixed his sleeve a little. His shoes were shiny black leather from Italy. He looked neat, calm, and ready. But the valet, one of the people who parks cars, didn't move. He didn't smile or say anything. He didn't even look at Keanu. Keanu held his car keys in one hand and looked at the young man. The valet just looked at his phone like Keanu wasn't even there. Then, still not looking at Keanu, the valet pointed at the car behind him and said to his coworker, "Hey, can you park this one?" He acted like Keanu didn't exist. Keanu took a deep breath, put his keys in his pocket and walked past them. He parked his car himself. As he walked toward the entrance of the hotel, he looked around. The doors were big and made of shiny glass. There was no red carpet. No big sign. Just a quiet, clean front area. Nothing told him what was going to happen next. He opened the door and stepped into the cool air of the lobby. The woman at the front desk gave him a small smile, but it quickly went away. "Can I help you?" she asked, still looking at her computer. "Yes," Keanu said nicely. "I'm here for the Summit Net conference. We have the Redwood room reserved." She looked up at him and frowned just a little. "Do you work for one of the vendors?" she asked. "No," Keanu said. "I'm the CEO." She blinked. "Right. Can you wait outside for a moment? We're still getting the space ready." Keanu stayed calm. "I'm also the keynote speaker." She didn't look surprised or say sorry. She just smiled a fake smile and said, "Still, we're not quite ready. Please wait outside." Before Keanu could say anything else, a young man in a blazer walked up behind her. He had a walkie-talkie on his belt. He looked at Keanu like he was trying to figure something out. "Do you have security?" the man asked in a quiet voice. Keanu looked him in the eyes. "I'm Keanu Reeves," he said. "The conference you're hosting today, I run it." There was a short silence. Then the man nodded toward the door. "Just give us a few minutes, sir. We'll call someone to come get you." Keanu let out a slow breath through his nose. He didn't look angry, but something colder was inside him. People started arriving. A few early investors walked into the lobby. One man in a gray plaid suit was greeted right away. He got big smiles and friendly handshakes. No one told him to wait outside. Keanu looked at the man, but the man didn't notice him. He walked into the hotel, happily talking to the same staff who had just asked Keanu to leave. The doors closed behind Keanu. He was standing outside again on the sidewalk. He looked at his watch. It was 8:09 a.m. His speech wasn't for another 51 minutes. He had time. But something inside him was bubbling, not anger, but something colder and quieter. Across the street, the city was waking up. A mom pushed a stroller toward a coffee shop. A bus hissed to a stop at the corner. People were living their lives. But Keanu stood there, still, like time had paused for him. He had built a company all by himself. But now he was being treated like he didn't belong, just because he didn't look like what they expected. His phone buzzed in his pocket. "Boss," said his assistant Eli Turner on the phone. "Just checking, did they greet you yet?" Keanu looked at the hotel doors. His voice was calm. "Not exactly." Eli Turner went quiet. He knew what that tone meant. Keanu wasn't just saying what happened. He was thinking, remembering, not getting mad, just storing it away. "Want me to come down?" Eli Turner asked. "No," Keanu said. "Stay with the investors. They'll be here in 15 minutes. Let me handle this." He hung up the phone, fixed his tie, and walked back inside. The woman at the desk saw him again. Her face didn't change. "I thought I asked you to wait outside, sir," she said. She was typing something on her keyboard. "I did wait," Keanu said. "Now I'd like to speak with the event coordinator. My name is Keanu Reeves. I'm the founder and CEO of Reeves Innovations. We booked the Redwood room and 2 floors of your hotel rooms for this event." This time, the woman looked at him longer. Still no sorry. Just a tiny look like she wasn't sure if this was a joke. "Mr. Whitmore, was it? Reeves?" She turned to the young man in the blazer. "Can you call Gina from events?" He nodded and walked away. A bellhop walked by, pushing a cart full of suitcases. Keanu moved aside and saw 2 of his board members coming out of the elevator. They wore suits and had Summit Net badges clipped on. Right away, a hotel manager appeared and greeted them with big smiles and handshakes. Keanu raised his hand a little, hoping the manager would notice. The man saw him, but turned away. Keanu stayed calm. He turned back to the desk. "I'll say this one more time," he said. "I'm not a guest. I'm not with security. I'm not delivering anything. I'm the reason these people are here. I planned this whole event. I bought 60 of the most important investors in West Coast tech into this building today. The woman opened her mouth, but before she could say anything, the man with the walkie-talkie came back. She's on her way, he said. Then he added quietly, You're really the CEO? Keanu gave a small smile. I didn't just build this company. I paid for it. I wrote the first lines of computer code. I signed the contract with this hotel. And I picked this place because I believed people here would treat others with respect. The woman and the man stared at him. Keanu added, I manage $5 billion. And I almost trusted you to help grow that. Now the silence was different. Not surprise, just discomfort. The woman looked uncomfortable, like she didn't know what to say. Just then, Gina from events walked quickly into the lobby. She was holding a folder and already talking. Mr. Reeves, I'm so sorry for the delay. No one told us you had arrived. Please come with me. The Redwood room is ready and coffee is being served. The investors are already gathering. The same staff who had told Keanu to wait outside now moved away, letting him walk through. They didn't stop him. They didn't say a word. He walked past the front desk, past the man with the walkie-talkie, past the woman whose face was now red, maybe from feeling bad, maybe something else. Keanu didn't say anything. He didn't need to. Because what they didn't see wasn't a man trying to sneak in somewhere. What they missed, what they refused to see, was a man who owned the space. A man who stood still and gave them a chance to do the right thing. They didn't take it. What came next wasn't going to be a lesson in anger. It would be a lesson in memory. And Keanu had a very good memory. The Redwood room was at the back of the hotel's conference area. The hallway had quiet carpet and strange paintings on the walls. Inside, the lights were already low for the big presentation. Rows of chairs faced a podium with the Summit Net logo. A little table nearby had water bottles and shiny name signs. Keanu looked around the room quickly. Eli Turner was at the front, checking the sound with the AV team. Investors were arriving, talking quietly over cups of coffee. No one knew what had just happened in the lobby. Keanu didn't walk to the podium. Not yet. He stepped into a quiet room just for speakers and gently closed the door. Then he took out his phone. Megan, he said when his helper picked up. We're moving to the summit. Megan didn't sound surprised. She was used to hearing that serious voice. Today? She asked. Right now? You want to move 50 people with less than an hour to go. It's not a want, he said. Megan didn't argue. You want me to call the Fairmont or the Hayes? Hayes, he answered. I want every guest to go there instead. Make sure they know it's not about time, it's about respect. I'll explain later. Understood. I'll cancel everything here, even the fancy rooms. If they won't let us go, I'll tell them to charge me. They won't, Megan said. I'll take care of it. Good. Call Eli Turner too. Tell him to delay the start and begin moving the guests. He ended the call. He didn't yell. He didn't slam the phone. He just acted, calm and clear. He looked at his reflection in the dark window. He didn't feel proud or angry. He just felt tired. Tired of walking into places where people didn't really see him. There was a soft knock at the door. Eli Turner stood there holding a folder. Do you want to go through the slides? Darius shook his head. Change of plans. Eli Turner raised an eyebrow. Oh, we're leaving? I already made the call. Eli Turner paused, then nodded. He understood. They didn't even try to make things right, did they? Nope. Want me to tell the board? I'll tell them myself. Just get the guests moving. And make sure no one thanks the hotel on the way out. In just a few minutes, Eli Turner was quietly telling people what was going on. Emergency move, he whispered to one group. We found a better place just a few blocks away, he told another. Mr. Whitfield will explain everything. At the same time, Megan was on the phone with the new hotel, the Hayes. She was setting everything up. Staff, equipment, food, everything. Darius went back into the Redwood room only once, to get his notes and laptop. That's when a hotel manager showed up. He looked nervous and held a folder. Mr. Whitfield, he said. I heard there was a mistake at the front desk this morning. I'm very sorry. We didn't mean to upset you. You didn't upset me, Darius said calmly. You just showed me you weren't good enough. The manager blinked. Can we make it right? Darius zipped up his laptop bag. You had your chance. You didn't yell. You didn't need to. Sometimes the loudest thing in the room is silence. And the room that had been full of important people just minutes ago was now almost empty. Darius walked out through the same lobby where they had told him to wait outside earlier. The desk clerk saw him. Her lips were pressed tight. The young man with the walkie-talkie was gone. He didn't stop walking. A black SUV was waiting outside. The driver opened the door and Darius got in. His phone was already ringing. But this wasn't the end of the story. This was just the part where other people started to notice. By the time the first tray of croissants made it to the Redwood room, most of the guests were already blocks away, now in the bright fancy Hayes Hotel. That hotel didn't need to be told who Darius was. They welcomed him like they had been getting ready for him all along. Meanwhile, back at the old hotel, the staff looked confused. The receptionist kept checking her screen. She frowned and picked up the phone. "Gina," she said. "The guests, they're leaving." Gina, the events helper, was in the back loading area helping pack up the tech equipment. "What do you mean leaving?" "I mean people are checking out. Some just walked out without saying anything." In less than 20 minutes, the busy lobby was quiet. Big empty spaces now filled the room. The conference signs were still up, but the energy was gone, like water through a crack in the floor. Then the manager's phone rang. "Sir," someone said. "They canceled everything. The rooms. The Redwood room. Even the food." The manager blinked. "That's not possible. It's summit day." But it was possible. More calls started coming in. The front desk clerk looked panicked. She was trying to get the manager's attention while talking on the phone with the cleaners. A staff member whispered, "That guest just left without saying anything." Another voice said, "This group said they're not paying for the food today. They said to talk to Mr. Reeves." A security guard walked over to the manager. "That SUV outside?" It took him and a few others. "They're gone." The change happened like falling dominoes. No yelling. No fights. Just silence and empty space. At the Hayes, Darius stood in front of a big screen in a sunny room. His voice was calm, strong, not angry. "Before we begin," he said, "thank you all for being flexible. I know moving was a surprise, but where we meet says a lot about what we care about." People nodded. "I picked the other hotel because of its name, its service, and how close it is to your offices. But this morning I learned something." He paused. "A pretty lobby and a 5-star rating don't always mean respect." Everyone got quiet. "I was told to wait outside. Twice. Staff never asked who I was. I parked my own car. I explained who I was. But in that space, none of it mattered." Some people looked shocked. Others just nodded. They weren't surprised. "But I don't believe in yelling. I don't believe in hurting others just to make a point. I believe in moving forward. And that's what we're doing. Here. With people who see us, hear us, and treat our work the way it should be treated." People clapped. Not because they felt sorry, but because they respected him. In the back, Eli Turner stood with his arms crossed. He looked proud. Meanwhile, back at the first hotel, workers took down the signs. Coffee pots were pushed away on carts. The food team stood there, not sure if they should even start serving. The manager stood holding a piece of paper. It was a letter from Reeves Global. They were ending their deal right now. No fighting. No arguing. Just a clean goodbye. He called the big boss. "We lost the event." "How?" The manager took a breath. "The guest we didn't recognize, he was the event." While the hotel was busy trying to fix their mistake, Darius was already starting something new, something big, that they never saw coming. The sun outside made long shadows on the street as Darius sat in the back of the SUV. His jacket was folded beside him. He had taken off his tie and his white shirt was open at the collar. He looked tired. Eli Turner sat next to him, reading emails on his tablet. "Are you sure you don't want me to write something for the public?" he asked. "People are already talking about it. Someone even took a video of you walking out." Darius shook his head. "Let them talk. I'm not here to go viral." He leaned his head back against the seat. Outside, kids were riding bikes and laughing. As the car moved quickly down the road, a woman wearing a red jacket helped an old man get out of a rideshare car and into a small dentist's office. Outside, life was normal and didn't stop. But inside the car, everything felt still. "Can I ask you something?" Eli Turner said. He was still looking at his tablet. "Go ahead. Why didn't you get really mad at them? After everything that happened? They deserved it." Keanu didn't answer right away. He looked out the window watching the city go by. Then slowly he said, "When I was 19, I went to my very first job interview. I had worked summer jobs. My grades were good. I really thought I had a chance." He smiled a little as he remembered. "When I got there, the lady at the front desk asked me if I was there to bring food. I smiled and said no, then sat down to wait. I waited for 2 whole hours. That's when I realized they forgot about me." Eli Turner looked at Keanu, now quiet. "I could have shouted. I could have made a big fuss. But I didn't, Keanu said. I left. I looked for another job. Then another one after that. Keanu rubbed his hands together, like he was remembering the cold steering wheel of a car from a long time ago. For a long time, I thought that if I worked really hard, got a college degree, made good money, wore a nice suit, people would stop judging me just by how I looked. He turned to Eli Turner. But they don't. Eli Turner nodded. He was thinking about it. But this wasn't just one person at a desk. This was a whole hotel. A whole moment, Eli Turner said. Exactly, Keanu replied. That's why I left. I didn't need to prove myself to them. I wanted everyone watching to see what it looks like when you don't beg for the respect you already deserve. He let out a breath and looked back out the window. My dad used to say, you can't make people see you, but you can choose where you won't let yourself be invisible. Eli Turner leaned back and thought about what Keanu had said. The car stopped at a red light. Across the street, a big sign lit up with an ad. It was for a company that helps new businesses grow. The ad showed young people, cool logos, and bright colors. Eli Turner smiled. Can you believe we're the ones running those programs now instead of trying to join them? Keanu laughed. Every day. It still feels kind of like a dream. Their car stopped in front of a tall building called Whitfield Dynamics. It was made of glass and steel and looked strong and proud. When they walked in, the receptionist already knew them and was holding the elevator door open. While they rode up, Eli Turner broke the quiet again. Have you ever thought about telling that story? The one about you at 19? Keanu thought about it. Maybe. Not for people to feel bad for me, but to help them understand. People think this kind of stuff just happens once in a while. Like just one bad day or one rude person. But it's not just one moment. It's the same thing happening again and again. It just hides better. The elevator doors opened. Keanu stepped out holding his briefcase. You can't fix what people don't talk about, but you can show them how to walk away with your head held high. Later that day, the sun was low in the sky, making long shadows on the street. Keanu sat in the back of the car. His suit jacket was folded beside him. The top button of his shirt was open. He looked tired. Next to him, Eli Turner was looking through emails on his tablet. Are you sure you don't want me to write a public post about what happened? Eli Turner asked. People are already sharing it. Someone from Marlowe and Banks took a video of you walking out. Keanu shook his head. Let them talk. I'm not doing this to be famous. He leaned his head back against the seat. The car hummed quietly. Outside, kids were riding their bikes and laughing. A woman in a red jacket helped an old man into a dentist's office. Life was moving on, simple and calm. But inside the car it was quiet again. Until Eli Turner spoke. Can I ask you something? Go ahead. Why didn't you get angry? They deserved it. After everything. Keanu didn't speak right away. He looked out the window and thought. Then finally he said, when I was 19, I went to an interview. I had a good resume, worked hard, and had good grades. I thought I had a real chance. When I got there, the receptionist thought I was there to deliver food. I smiled, said no, and waited. I waited for 2 hours. The interview never happened. They forgot about me. Eli Turner looked over, quiet. I could have shouted. I could have gotten mad. But I didn't. I left. And then I kept going. Keanu rubbed his hands again, remembering how cold the car steering wheel used to feel. I thought that if I just worked hard enough, people would stop judging me. That wearing a nice suit or having money would help. He looked at Eli Turner. It doesn't. Eli Turner nodded. But this wasn't just one person. It was the whole hotel. A big moment. Exactly, Keanu said. That's why I walked out. I didn't need them to understand. I needed others to see what it looks like when you don't beg for respect you already earned. He looked back out the window and said softly, my dad used to say, you can't make people see you, but you can choose where you won't be invisible. Eli Turner leaned back and let that idea sit in his heart. The car stopped at a red light. Across the street, a big ad showed young people and shiny company logos. Eli Turner smiled. Can you believe we're the ones in charge of those things now? Keanu chuckled. Every day. It still feels strange. The SUV stopped in front of Whitfield Dynamics. The tall building looked strong and proud. Inside, the receptionist waved and held the elevator door open. As they went up, Eli Turner asked again, have you ever thought about sharing that old story? Keanu thought for a second. Maybe. Not so people feel sorry, but to help them see. Because people think these moments are rare. Just one bad person. One bad day. But it's not like that. It happens again and again. It gets hidden. But it's still there. The elevator opened. Keanu stepped out with his briefcase. You can't fix what people won't talk about, but you can show them how to walk away proud. What Keanu didn't know was that his quiet choice was already making waves. Not loud ones. Not on the news. Just whispers in meeting rooms. Then a few emails. By the middle of the week, 3 companies quietly canceled their events with that hotel. No big speeches. Just a simple note. We've chosen to go somewhere else. Behind closed doors, people were talking. You hear what happened with Whitfield's team? Yeah. We don't want that kind of trouble. What's our new venue? The hotel staff rushed to fix things. A sales director sent an email to Whitfield Dynamics offering free rooms and spa packages. Megan read the email. She closed it and marked it as done. Keanu never replied. Because when trust breaks like that, no discount can fix it. It's not about the price. It's about what you allowed to happen. And people were starting to talk. A small tech website wrote a story. This is a story, not a fight. It's just what happened step by step. Who saw it, how the place changed, and how nobody said anything out loud after. But that story still traveled. It showed up in emails, in text messages, and in talks at parties. At one party, a bunch of young workers raised their drinks and smiled. They were talking about Keanu Reeves. Not because he argued. Not because he yelled. But because he didn't have to. Sometimes being strong doesn't mean slamming the door. It means walking away like the room never even deserved you in the first place. At the Whitfield Dynamics office, the big meeting room was quiet. Keanu sat at the end of the table. Next to him were some of his top workers. Across the table were 3 men who had come from Seattle to invest money in the company. One of them cleared his throat and said, "We heard about the hotel thing. People are still talking about it." Keanu leaned back just a little. "Is that a problem for you?" he asked. "Not at all," the man replied. "Actually, it told us more about how you lead than any of your charts or slides." Another investor nodded. "It's rare to see someone stay calm when everything's so intense. That's how you earn trust." Keanu gave a small nod, but he didn't smile big or brag. This wasn't about winning. This was about never playing a game with unfair rules in the first place. That evening, he walked around the quiet office. He stopped to look at a whiteboard full of drawings, notes, and numbers. Eli Turner was there too, drinking from an old mug. "Did you see the article?" Eli Turner asked. "I did," said Keanu. "They left out the part where the valet ignored me." Eli Turner shrugged. "They always leave something out. Doesn't matter. People who needed to understand it got the message." Keanu looked at the board. "When we built this place, I didn't want it to be shiny or fancy. I didn't want people to feel impressed. I wanted them to feel seen. That's the real difference." Eli Turner nodded. "They see you now." Keanu gave a tiny smile. "No, they always saw me. They just never thought I would be the one writing the checks." He turned toward his office, turned off the lights, and paused in the doorway. "Let's keep building." The next morning, Keanu stood by the big windows in his office. He held a cup of black coffee. Outside, the sky was gray and quiet. There was a soft knock at the door. "Come in," Keanu said without turning. The door opened and Theo West came in. Theo was one of the younger workers. He was in his 20s, smart but still learning. He held a folder in his hands but looked a little nervous. "You said you wanted to meet?" Theo asked. Keanu nodded and pointed to a chair. Theo sat down slowly. Then he said, "I heard what happened at the hotel. Some of us were talking about it yesterday in the lunchroom." Keanu didn't say anything right away. He let the silence stay for a moment. Then Theo asked, "How do you not let it bother you? How do you stay calm when it's clearly unfair?" Keanu smiled just a little. "You think I was calm?" Theo looked confused. "Weren't you?" Keanu looked at his coffee. "Remember, I just didn't show it." He set his coffee down and said, "You know what they saw when I walked into that hotel? They saw a man standing in a place they didn't expect him to be. Nothing else mattered to them." Theo leaned closer. "So why didn't you speak up? Why didn't you make them see who you really are?" "Because the world already does see," Keanu said. "That's not the fight. The real fight is helping the people who come after us. Learn that they don't need someone's approval to move forward. You don't need permission to belong." Theo nodded slowly. "You handled it with class. If it were me, I don't know what I would have done." Keanu looked right at him. "That's the thing. You don't have to know yet. But remember this. Never give away your calm just because someone else doesn't understand you. If they judge you wrong, let them. But make sure that the space you build, your company, your team, your name, never makes anyone else feel like they don't belong." Keanu sat back. Those words hit him more deeply than he thought they would. He remembered something Darius once said. You don't yell at the wall. You build a door somewhere else. They were quiet for a moment. Then Darius leaned forward and tapped the folder Theo had brought. So, what's in here? Oh right. Theo said, suddenly remembering. It's a new plan from the behavior team. We changed a few things based on what you told us last week. Darius opened the folder and looked at the first page. Good. Let's meet with the team this afternoon. Theo stood up to leave but stopped at the door. Thank you, he said. For what? Darius asked. For showing us how to move forward without ever lowering yourself. Darius nodded quietly. Theo left the room. Outside, cars moved along the streets. The world kept going like nothing big had happened. But the people who saw it would remember. Because this wasn't just about one man or one company. It was about every room where people only saw part of the truth. It was about how real power doesn't always need to shout. Sometimes real power just moves forward. If you like this story, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Leave a comment below and let me know what you think. And don't forget to subscribe for more thrilling adventures, mysteries, and unforgettable moments. Your support keeps these stories alive and the creativity flowing. Thanks for watching. I can't wait to see you in the next video.